Hey guys, what's going on? Druzy here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video and another beginner's guide here on the channel. As recently on the channel I have created a new Adventure Lock account overall, and because of that a lot of you have been asking me a ton of questions about Adventure Lock accounts and kind of how it works and different things like that. So I decided to make this beginner guide video here today to help you on your journey on whether or not Adventure Lock is for you and to answer a couple of very quick questions. Obviously, what is Adventure Locking and how do I do it? That is the main question that a lot of people have been asking me since I've discussed Adventure Lock both recently having one and in my 2020 beginner's guide video that I made earlier this year talking about Adventure Lock accounts being a good way to start your way of playing this game. So a lot of people have been asking me a ton of questions about Adventure Lock, so this video seemed necessary to me to kind of wrap some of those questions up. Also, what are the pros and cons of being an Adventure Lock account? There are a mixture of both things, so we're going to go into detail fairly extensively on both those things and why maybe you should or should not do it. And then of course, number 3 is, should you do it? And that's going to be up to you, but based on all the information I'm going to be giving you about Adventure Locking, obviously you can come to that decision for yourself. But yeah, we're just going to quickly dive into this and really kind of break down what is Adventure Locking and how do you do it. Okay, so obviously the main thing to do Adventure Locking is there's one specific mission in the PvE or the campaign that you cannot complete in order to stay Adventure Lock. So I'm on my Adventure Lock account. As you can see, I'm level 9. I have been playing on this account for a couple of weeks now, so I've progressed decently well. But this is the one mission that you cannot beat if you want to stay Adventure Locked, and that is Mission 10 of the campaign, or Episode 2, Stage 5. So as you can see here on my screen, I could get a special reward if I complete this mission, as well as defeat Stan in Many Moods. Now by doing this, unlocks all of the other themes in the game to my potential for the reason why I'm not going beyond this mission in the first place. You can beat 1 through 9 all 15 times that you can play through the campaign, and you will not go, and you will stay Adventure Locked. But if you beat Mission 10, even one time, you will lose your Adventure Lock capabilities. So you cannot beat this mission at all. Because as you can see, the next thing up there, straight up above me, is orange. I would start the sci-fi part of the campaign, and then move on to mystical, then fantasy, and then would unlock the ability to do the Call Girl quests for superheroes. So as long as I don't beat this mission, I don't have to worry about that. And I am not able to beat this mission at all if I want to remain, or you want to remain Adventure Locked at all during your experience. So when you start the game, if you want to just make a sub kind of account for Adventure Locking, which is what I've basically done obviously, then you can do that and you can try to stay on this path. But as long as you don't beat Mission 10, that is capable for you. So that is basically the only thing. You can beat 1 through 5 as many times as you want to, and you will stay in as an Adventure Locked account. So just don't beat Mission 10 and you'll be fine. Now the main thing is, can you stay locked in other themes other than just adventure? So say if I beat Mission 10 and go to sci-fi, but I don't beat Kenny at the end of the sci-fi theme basically, can I stay sci-fi locked? The answer is no. As of recording of this video, currently there is no other way to lock yourself into a theme other than adventure. Adventure is the only one that is capable of doing this strategy. If you want to stay locked in mystical, cool, but you can't actually do that as far as do the reason of why you would Adventure Lock in the first place. That's not capable to you with any other theme in the game. Again, I say as of recording of this video, that means it could possibly change in the future. But will it? Probably not. The realistic expectation is that would never happen, just for the sheer fact of this game has been out almost 3 years now, and you can only do Adventure Locking and you can't do any other form of locking. If they were going to allow you to lock with other themes, obviously they would have done that by now. So the fact that they're going to like go like forward in time, maybe a year from now, and let's say they say, okay, well now you can sci-fi lock. Well, it's too little too late by then. Most people would have been well past that point, and nobody's going to make a whole nother account just to be sci-fi locked. Well, maybe I would, because I'm crazy, but most people would not do that. So Red Links would never probably do that. You can only be Adventure Locked. Now, the main reason, what's the main reason why you want to be Adventure Locked, or what's the main pro of being Adventure Locked? And that's limiting the reward pool that you can obtain within the game. So what I mean by that is there are only 2 themes that you are able to actually successfully obtain throughout the course of whether it's PvP packs, whether it's free packs, whether it's the shops for both Cartman and Butters, as well as other ways of, whether it's through Team Wars reward packs, all the different ways that you can obtain rewards. The only things you can obtain is adventure and neutral cards. Those are the only two themes that you would have the potential to earn. Obviously, you would work your way through the different arenas, but you could only be limited to those couple of themes. So as you can see here with the different arenas as we go through, you can see the ones that I have unlocked, or the ones that I have the potential of unlocking, are only the cards that are in either adventure or in neutral. Now, some of these cards may be special reward cards that may come through special events, through special packs, or different ways of obtaining them, but for the most part, most adventure and neutral cards are easily obtainable throughout just leveling up to the arenas where they are obtainable, and then of course being lucky enough to unlock them. Now obviously legendary cards are going to be a little bit more difficult to obtain because they're much more rare, but by staying adventure locked, you will only obtain neutral legendaries and adventure legendaries. You won't get any other legendaries in the game, which means that your success of getting, say, Standing Many Moons leveled up to a higher level would be easily obtainable through this system. So as of right now, I have Standing Many Moons to level 2. I have gotten 2 copies of Standing Many Moons, and the main reason of that is because I stayed adventure locked, which means that my legendary pool was much smaller to choose from. I can only get, as of the recording of this video, I can only obtain Standing Many Moons, Man Bear Pig, Hanky is obtainable at this current juncture that I'm at, and Inuit Kenny. But I don't have Inuit Kenny yet, and I don't have Hanky yet, but those 4 legendaries are the only legendaries that I can obtain as of this moment. Now, a little bit down the line, I would be able to obtain something like Ink and Craig, but Ink and Craig doesn't come until I hit Legendary Arena here at 6,000 minimum skill rating. So it's going to be a while before I get to that point, because my skill rating is nowhere near that. I'm only about 2,600 as of right now, so it's probably going to take a good little while before I can obtain Ink and Craig. So as of right now, again, those are the only, that's one of the main reasons why you would stay adventure locked, is to limit the pool that you can obtain from. So you can level up your adventure cards and your neutral cards significantly faster and have them at significantly higher levels quicker than you would by opening your ability to have all of the themes within the game. So if you beat mission 10, go on to mission 11, then you have the ability to obtain all of the different themes within the game, and that could be limiting to you to be able to not only get those different materials, because now you'd have all the materials to be able to obtain, but if in your prize pools and all the different ways of earning prizes or earning rewards, you don't have the ability to obtain those other versions. You would only obtain adventure and neutral. So that's the main pro of it. Is to be able to level your cards faster, to be able to compete at lower levels much easier, to work your way up the arena ladders and get those extra special rewards in the different arenas. So once you beat certain arenas, you see you get an Arena 7 reward pack, which you get them for every arena the first time you obtain them, obviously other than Arena 1. So the first time you get to Arena 2, you'll get a reward pack, Arena 3, so on and so forth, all the way up to Legendary Arena, which will be the last reward pack you get at 6,000 minimum skill rating. Not at the different tiers of Legendary Arena will you get one, only the first time you reach Legendary Arena. Now again, you're going to know exactly what you can obtain by those. It's going to tell you here what the reward packs obtain, as well as your rewards for in both lockers and PvPs packs will go up as far as the different types of rewards you can obtain. So there are pros and cons to getting up those arenas faster. You get better rewards overall, and you get better opportunities to get even better rewards as you go along. So those are just some big pros of staying adventure locked. Now there are a decent amount of cons as well, so I do not suggest this for everyone. If you're early on into the game, you can use this method for as long as you deem it necessary and it's a benefit to you. Once you kind of get to a certain point, it may not be as beneficial, and you may have to shift to not being adventure locked anymore. So the main con obviously is that you're limiting yourself to the types of decks you can build, because you're limiting the amount of cards you can obtain. So that can kind of stink for some people. Maybe you really want to play superheroes. You've watched myself or other content creators make content with superhero cards, and you're saying, hey, I really want to play the superhero theme. Cool. Not going to be realistic, because if you're limiting the fact that you can't obtain superheroes realistically through reward packs, you can't play them as an overall theme. Now, if there is a special card that is in the Battle Pass, so for me, right now, Dark Angel Red is a card available through the Battle Pass. I can obtain Dark Angel Red in the Battle Pass and use her in a deck. I can use any of the cards that are available through the Battle Pass, even if they're not in Adventure or in Neutral. So that is a kind of a bonus there. So I have Dark Angel Red in my current main deck that I'm running on this account. Unfortunately, I only have it at level 1 because I need to get the upgrade materials, which I can only obtain through the tiers of this Battle Pass right now, because I can't get them any other way. So I can't actually level up Dark Angel Red to level 2 until I get all the way to tier 29, or tier 28, I'm sorry, once I can obtain Fancy Dreidels. Until I can obtain Fancy Dreidels, I can't level her anymore. So I'm kind of stuck. That's going to be a few more weeks before tier 28 is even unlockable for me, that then I can now use Dark Angel Red at a higher level. But as you can see here, I'll show you my deck on screen real quick. She is in the main deck I am running right now, which has been a lot of fun. I have 2 legendaries in it, Man, Bear, Pig, and Stand of Many Moons. And I've been using Dark Angel Red as well, who is an extremely strong card in this game. I'm sure if you guys have watched any of my monthly meta videos, you will see, well, I haven't made one on her yet, but I will here very soon. And once I do, you'll obviously see going forward that Dark Angel Red is a very strong card, unless it's changed later on. But yeah, so there are some pros and cons to kind of keeping within Adventure Locked. But again, the cons are, there are other themes maybe you may not be able to play. The other big thing is you cannot do any events. So as of right now, it is not obtainable to compete in events if your Adventure Locked account, as it says here, beat Stand of Many Moons to unlock events. So it limits you in some of the rewards you can obtain because there are a slew of events that RedLynx constantly gives us throughout the course of the week. Generally 3 to 4 different events are able to be done, but if you don't have events unlocked, you can't do them. Obviously, also recently, RedLynx added Chaos Mode, which is a special mode that's 2 days a week in the PvP arena, which is the arena I'm currently in. I can't do Chaos Mode either as Adventure Locked. That is something that is not obtainable at the moment right now either. So again, those are some of the big cons probably of being Adventure Locked, is you're limiting the amount of extra bonus upgrades / cards you could be unlocking through events that you don't get access to if you stay Adventure Locked. The main source of you getting rewards is going to be through Team Wars. I'm going to show you on screen here real quick the Team Wars pack that I received this last week. So joining a good team, being part of a good team, and then hopefully your team is able to win each week. As you can see here towards the end of the pack, I actually do luckily get a legendary card, which was my first Stand of Many Moons, which I was able to then be lucky to upgrade again later on to then get him to level 2. So it's the best way to get rewards for your Adventure Locked account is to join a team, hopefully a decently good team. My team is focused on only Adventure Locked accounts, which is kind of convenient and obviously a bonus for myself, being part of a group of people that are focusing on being Adventure Locked like myself. Some of these people have shifted away from Adventure Locked and have now moved into actually being a regular account, but a good majority of us have stayed Adventure Locked throughout the course of this going on. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to stay Adventure Locked on this account forever. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but it's been very fun for me to do it as of right now, and to kind of see the different shift in kind of where the meta is for lower arenas within this game, as the meta is completely different in the lower arenas than it is in the much higher arenas. So I've noticed a lot more superheroes and adventure being played down here in the lower arenas. Not as much as I see in the higher tiers. You don't see hardly anyone playing superheroes in the higher tiers of arenas, but you see them a ton down in the lower arenas. And, you know, it can be one of those things where obviously those cards are easy to obtain. They're kind of easy to level early on because you can get a bunch of different rewards for them. And there's been a lot of events focused on superheroes recently. But again, there are some big weaknesses to playing superheroes. And one of the big ones is a lot of people seem to bunch their cards up very easily, which one of the best cards to level up and focus on for Adventure Lock is the Fireball, because the Fireball does a fantastic job of just wiping the board clean and taking out a lot of units, doing a lot of damage, and just being able to kind of help stop a swarm coming at you. It's kind of a high cost of 5 energy, but there's a lot of situations, and I'm showing you some on screen, of where a Fireball can really be useful and could really help you turn the tide back in your favor. So those are pros and cons to it. Adventure has a lot of really good spells with Lightning Bolt, Arrow Storm, and Fireball. They don't have any direct cancel card. That's one of the weaknesses of it, and there's no direct in neutral either. So you're kind of limited on having a direct cancel that you would have in Mystical or Fantasy. So because you don't have that, that is kind of a weakness for you by staying Adventure Locked, but maybe if you're lucky, you can win a Red Links sponsored reward pack from one of the content creators that does giveaways. And if you can request an epic card in those giveaways or obtain an epic card, which means you can then get Transmography or Cock Magic, which are both epic spells and cancel cards, you could possibly have the ability to obtain those through a giveaway, and then you would have those cards and you'd have a direct cancel finally in your deck. So that's one way of getting, that's the only way to stay Adventure Locked and get a direct cancel card, is to win something like that, or to have Red Links just give the epic card to you somehow through your account, which I highly doubt that would ever happen. But those are at least two ways, I guess, to get a cancel card some way, shape, or form. But alright guys, so real quick, I'm going to put on screen here a list of cards in order of importance. If you could decide to go Adventure Lock, the cards that I would focus on leveling first and often as you can. And so as you see here, Lightning Bolt is in the first slot, going to its right. Fireball, Sharon, so on and so forth, is the order of importance from 1 through 10, in my opinion, of the current cards that are easily to be obtained very early on in the game that you should focus on once you have obtained them. So Lightning Bolt is the most important card, in my opinion, for staying Adventure Locked, that you need to level up as much as possible and as quickly as possible. Maybe the card that you need to request constantly as much as you can until you at least get it to level maybe 4 or 5 as early as you possibly can. As you see, mine is currently level 3. It's super helpful in the early game. It's the closest to a direct cancel that Adventure has, and it's very good at taking out a range unit that's annoying to you, or a bunch of other very strong cards that you may run into that could be very problematic for you. Now, it's not going to do a crap ton of damage. There are going to be times where it's not going to take out a tank card necessarily, unless the tank has taken some damage, but it is a very useful card and one of the most important cards in staying Adventure Lock. Fireball as well, extremely important, and one that I would put second most in importance of leveling. Now, some of you are going to argue with me on this, and some other Adventure Lock people might put comments down below as far as what they think is the most important cards to be leveling. This is just my opinion as far as what cards have helped me the most in the early part of me being an Adventure Locked account. Sharon is extremely important and a very strong card with her healing capabilities, and one that I would focus on a lot. Rats are a great kind of card to help on defense more or less than offense. They're a very good card at dealing with stuff like Cyborg Kennies. Any of the cards they're just a great swarm unit to be able to deal with a bunch of different annoyances that you could run into within the course of this game. I put Pirate Ship Timmy very high on this list. He's in the 5th slot because he's going to receive a huge buff here tomorrow, actually, or the day that I think I post this video. Pirate Ship Timmy's going to receive a huge buff, and when he gets this buff, he's going to be probably one of the strongest range cards in the game, and if not, definitely the strongest range card out of probably the Adventure Lock capabilities. So Pirate Ship Timmy is definitely going to be a card you're going to want to level and want to focus on if you stay Adventure Locked after this video goes live. Poco Randy, maybe a little bit more difficult to obtain. As you see, I just finally unlocked him. As you see, he's a new card, but he's almost, you can use him as a tank. He has insanely high attack speed, really good damage output, and is a very strong card. Swordsman Garrison, kind of similar properties, kind of a bulky-ish tank style card, plus has a very good charge ability that can be extremely useful and helpful for you in doing a lot of direct damage to the new kid as well as to a bunch of units. Terrence and Phillip, one of the best neutral cards in the entire game, especially in the early game. Level them as often as you can because they're very strong, they do a ton of damage, and they're very good early game. Santa Claus might be the best tank for Adventure Locked because his ability, he does good damage, has a knockback, good health scaling, and has one of the best abilities in the game where he basically throws a bunch of presents out to any charge units and gives them instant ability to use their charge attack. Once you kind of get used to playing Santa, you'll kind of see really how strong he can really be, and a card I would definitely focus on and level as much as you can. Dog Poo as well, a very strong card, a fan favorite to a lot of people. A lot of people really like this card. He's going to lose a lot of value later on as you get higher and higher tier, but in the early game, Dog Poo is a menace. He's a monster. He hits like a Mack truck. He's a very strong card early game, and one of the strongest early cards you can obtain. and you'll see them a lot. So just get used to seeing dog poo. And that's why rats are also so good. Rats are very good at countering dog poo if you see one go against you, which you will see a lot in the early arenas. Marcus is an amazing card for chip damage. He does a lot of chip damage to the enemy new kid, and he has very good attack speed and pretty good scaling on both his health and damage output on his base stats. So Marcus is a very useful card in that regard. Hook and Clyde has value at times if his parrot hits what it's supposed to. If it doesn't, then Hook and Clyde can be the most annoying card and most frustrating card in the entire game, but still a very useful card overall. But these, again, are my top 10 cards in order, in my opinion, as far as what cards you should focus on and be leveling as much as you can in the early stages of playing Adventure Locked, because these cards are going to be lifesavers for you down the road as you get higher and higher tiers in your arenas and stuff like that. So this is something to kind of help you as well, but also if you are an Adventure Locked account and you have a better strategy, always let me know down below. And these are not the only cards you should be leveling. You should be trying to level a decent amount of them as much as you can. There are a few that you shouldn't really level at all. I would say don't level Outlaw Tweak. Don't level Swashbuckler Red at this moment. She's not very good right now. I would leave Calamity Heidi alone. She's been nerfed too many times and she's not as much value as you think she is. Gunslinger Kyle needs a big buff. He's not very good. I would not level up Gunslinger Kyle. Shaman Token's one of the worst cards in the game right now. I would not level him up either. Sharpshooter Shelly has some value, but I would kind of leave her alone. There are better epic cards overall that you have options for that I wouldn't touch. Killer Jimmy's one of the worst epics in the entire game, so I would leave him alone until he's buffed. Mr. Mackey really isn't that good. He has some potential. Yeah, he can make your kid units a little bit stronger, but later on you can level him up. I would not level him early on in the game. Darvin Marvin's really not worth your attention early on. He gets a lot more value later. Mary McDaniels, until she gets a buff, is not really worth it, and a card I would also not invest any time into at the early part of your leveling. Classy, another epic, not really very good right now. She's going to need a lot of changes and buff to her to be more viable, so I would leave Classy alone. Officer Barbrady is a very expensive card overall. I would not put a lot of effort into Officer Barbrady until he receives a buff and or you have enough resources to kind of really upgrade him. Big Gay Al on paper seems like he'd be a good card. He has some value, but in the early parts, I would just avoid Big Gay Al and leveling him and focus on some other cards instead. Any of the other cards that were not mentioned in this little segment, I could say you could go ahead and level them up if you choose to, but it's kind of up to you as far as how you want to go about it and do it. I've kind of given you a breakdown of the cards that I would focus on and stuff like that. And then basically the final question is, should I do it, or is Adventure Lock for you? And that again is kind of up to you based on a lot of the information that I gave you and some of the pros and cons of being Adventure Locked. Again, it's going to be solely up to you whether or not you choose this is the right path for you overall. This video may be a little bit longer than I originally intended, but I feel like this video is important for those of you that are thinking and considering Adventure Lock and what it could mean for you and the pros and cons of it. So hopefully you found this video informative. Hopefully this video answers all the questions that you have about being an Adventure Locked account, as I myself have taken the plunge and tried it out for myself. And I'm going to be honest, for myself, being a person that's played this game since global launch for almost 3 years, I really enjoy being an Adventure Locked account. It's a different experience. It's fun for me as a person that's, I guess, experienced in this game and has played it for quite a long time and made content for it for a long time. This has been some of the most fun I've had with the game again, and kind of experiencing a whole new side of it. And it's a whole new challenge at the same time. It can be frustrating at times. I'm sure it's going to be much more difficult as I go along with this endeavor, but I'm gonna stick through it. I'm gonna try the best I can to stay Adventure Locked as long as humanly possible. And obviously you'll see plenty of content of me doing it and see how successful this is going to be for me. But again, it's solely up to you whether or not you want to do this. I would again suggest, as I said earlier, if you are a brand new player, stay Adventure Locked as long as you can. Muster it, because it will help you later on. But eventually, you'll probably have to break away from it and realistically go to a more regular account base, because then you'll be able to experience other themes and have better chances in Team Wars. I mean, the only Team Wars cards you're going to have leveled to good levels are going to be only Neutral and Adventure, so it's going to hurt you in that regard once you get to the higher tiers of the different arenas, or as far as the different tiers of Team Wars. Bronze and Silver and Gold League, if you're an Adventure Locked account, you're probably going to struggle quite a bit playing against some of those people with much higher level cards of all the themes versus just 2 specific themes. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of kind of pros and cons to it. Again, But I've had a lot of fun playing around with my Adventure Locked account, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, please give it a like. I would greatly appreciate it, and let me know of any other type of beginner guides that you would like to see on the channel other than this one. I'll try to do the best I can to root out any ones that seem necessary, and then do that as we go along here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the great support here on the channel. I appreciate it immensely. And until next time, guys, my name is Drewz.